Hey folks, Jason here, Olde Carr Guy. If you follow me on Instagram or TikTok, you've already seen this 95 Ford F-150 short wheelbase. And today, we're going to tell you everything about it. So stay tuned. So folks, we're going to try and break this video up into two segments. One is we're going to get it inside, get it up in the air. We're going to check everything over, and then we're going to go over all the features. The second part is I want to get it out for a drive before the sun goes down. In theory, I'm going to record that part first, and then we'll get it inside the garage and we'll check things out. Let's do a quick walk around and we'll show you what this is all about. This is a 1995. It only has 94,000 kilometers, which is roughly about 58,000 miles. It does have the 5-liter V8 with the overdrive transmission. It's all original paint. It's got 4 brand new tires, and it is pretty much immaculate. The owner is a fellow that I bought the 97 Lincoln Town Car from, and he wants me to do a few things with it. So we're going to go over those things when we get it inside, but for now we're just going to walk around and take a look at how impeccable this thing is. There's very little outside paint damage. It is original paint. We come down underneath the doors and they are all just like new. Cab corners, rocker panels, all look good. And if we get in here in the frame, it's been well undercoated. In Canada, that's what we do. We have to undercoat them to keep them from dying. It does have this hard shell tonneau cover, fiberglass, chrome package, so it's got chrome in the back of the mirrors, the bumpers, the grille. It looks really, really sharp. It does have the aftermarket towing package. He pulls his boat in and out of the water. That's about all he uses that for. We come around to this side, we got a little bit of staining. It's a single gas tank truck, and like I said, the wheels are really, really good. We look down here, and those are original Ford wheels. Hardly a mark on them, even from the wheel weights. Same thing over here. You know, we look at the cab corners and rockers. They're in really good shape. And as we open the door, you know, all that black is undercoating, not rust. A few little chips from getting in and out, the feet kicking across the floor. It does have the blue rubberized floor mat, and the interior also is blue. Now this is just an XL truck, but it does have the automatic transmission and air conditioning. So it's got a few options there, AM, FM cassette, but that's about it. We come around to the front here and you can see somebody's installed the fog lights, the yellow fog lights. My wife said the first thing that we have to do is we would have to take those off. And I disagree. That is synonymous to 80s and 90s styling, adding the fog lights to the bumper. Let's take a look inside. As we come inside, we've got no frills, we've got no power windows, no power mirrors. We do have the side vents that still open quite well. They don't stick. We do have cruise control on the steering wheel. It's also a tilt steering wheel, and it does have the full gauge cluster with the exception of a tachometer. Nothing really fancy in here, just a bench seat, no armrest. We do have a cup holder down here, and your 4-wheel drive shifter is manual. Like I said before, it does have AC, AM, FM cassette, but other than that, the headliner, it does have the rear light in the back. And we got this switch here, which I assume is likely for the fog lights. Pretty basic. So what do you say we hop in and take her for a ride down the road, see how she handles. So as we come inside, you'll notice that it does have 94,000 kilometers. Canadian truck. Like I said, works out to about 58,000 miles. Check engine light is on. We will hook up to find out what that is once we get her back to the shop. First thing that I notice is that the exhaust is, well, just like the Lincoln, way too loud for my likings. But you know what? The owner seems to like it that way, so we're not going to complain too much because, well, we don't have to deal with it. But you guys all know that I'm not a huge Ford fan, even though practically everything I own right at the moment is a Ford. Now, when I say I'm not a fan, these particular trucks right here are probably one of the reasons why I'm not. Simply put, I don't care for the twin I-beam suspension. I find them not comfortable to drive. You're always chasing the wheel. You can't really put much of a lift kit on them without the camber issues. And some will say, dare to be different. I say, why did you mess with a good thing? Now another thing, I'm just coming up over this long hill here, getting ready to hit the highway, and well, I was doing about 20 miles an hour, 25 miles an hour, 40 kilometers an hour, and it wanted to lock up. Therefore, I had no power. So in order for it to have power, what do you gotta do? Well, you gotta step on her. You gotta give her some juice. And then you've got that. Just set the cruise control, it seems to work okay. Sorry Charlie, but I'm really not a fan of that exhaust. So we did get this thing out in the highway, good up to speed. You know, no real surprises there other than it, you know, wanders like a typical twin I-beam suspension wanders. We will check that out, make sure that there's nothing wrong with it. But, you know, no vibrations, no shakes, everything works the way it should. So I think he's got himself a pretty good deal on this truck. And one thing I know for sure that I am going to have to do is I'm going to have to turn that heater down because, well, it's cooking me out. She's a little bit chilly out here tonight, and yeah, heater works. So you guys can help me out in the comment section down below and tell me, is there something wrong with the overdrive? Because again, when you're doing 25 miles an hour or about 40 kilometers an hour, it goes into lockup and you cannot accelerate unless you hit the switch to turn it off. So I'm not familiar with these AOD transmissions. You guys let me know down below. What am I doing wrong? Or what's wrong? Anyways, let's get it back to the shop. Get it up in the air, we'll take a look underneath. So there it is, there's under the hood of this 5-liter Ford, and nothing really surprising here. White trucks are going to show everything a lot quicker when it comes to rust than any other color. This thing shows very well. Even the hood light is still working. We've got some undercoating creeping out from underneath the hood here, these holes, and even the inner fenders. The rad support was a common problem with these. They would rust down at the bottom. This one here so far, we'll check when we get underneath, looks like it's in really, really good shape. Everything looks quite original. You know, we got a die-hard battery here. We got a new Daco hose on the upper rad hose. Air conditioning apparently still works. Intermittent wipers. Like I said, everything looks pretty much factory here, with the exception of the valve covers and the custom wires. I didn't notice the valve covers earlier, but it does have headers. Look at that. She got headers. So now that we got it in here, let's get it up on the hoist and take a look underneath. All right, so just like everything, we're going to start at the front here and work our way back. And again, this thing is just gummed with undercoating. And for all you Southern guys, you know, looking at this saying, you know, oh, what did they do? Go spraying all that stuff. Like I said before, this is how we get our trucks and cars in Canada or in the salt belt, the rust belt, to survive. We've got to coat them in an oily substance that keeps the corrosion away. You know, we look up in here and inside the bumper is all good. And inside the fender wells, the backing plate here is starting to show a little bit of signs of some age on it. And we come over to this side. That one is in a little bit better shape, but still starting to show some signs of some rust. Now with that header coming down there, they've got it collected over here on the passenger side and going down to 2 mufflers. And I think the reason why they did that is simply because, well, with the transfer case, you know, right up in there beside the transmission, you just got no room for some long tubes to go snaking down through there. The frame itself is still in really good condition. A few spots where the undercoating has come off, but still very, very solid. No major leaks. The oil pan is undercoated. Got a little bit of a leak coming out, maybe the rear main seal. There might be something coming out over here. I'm not sure what that is. But again, we come over here and the floors are just like brand new. This is surprising right here. This is the tube or the support for those fiberglass steps, running boards per se. That's in really bad shape. I don't know what we're gonna do, if anything, about that. I'll let the owner know and see if he wants us to see if we can fabricate something to fix there. But it's little things that we're doing to this truck. If you guys know in the thumbnail, we're almost talking bad about this truck, but there are a few things wrong that he wants us to look after. And one of them is this exhaust. The angle in which it comes out from the side of the truck isn't quite where he'd like it to be. He'd like it to be, you know, parallel to the bottom of that fender. So we may have to come back in here somewhere and manipulate a little bit. We're not gonna have a lot of room to move. As you can tell, there's probably only about 3/4 of an inch between that muffler and the transfer case. As we come back up and through here, again, no real surprises. You know, everything is in immaculate condition. You know, we do have a few spots, like right up in there. That's where the factory muffler or exhaust would have come up, so you'll get a lot of heat and cold, and it will rot out that little piece of heat shield. You can still see the muffler hangers or exhaust hangers there. Again, rear chrome bumper, no surprises here. Very well undercoated and not rotting away down on the step like they normally did. I'm really impressed with this truck. Anyways, we are going to get this thing down, and I'll go over with you guys the list of things he'd like us to take a look at and get fixed up for him. So the owner's list was about 8 or 10 things long, and they are all quite minor. Get the spare tire down. He just wanted that down and put into the back of the truck. He didn't want to have to be fussing with that spare tire in the event of a flat, so he just said, can we get it up into the back? And that's exactly what we're going to do. So there's one item. The second thing is a few appearance items. We're going to paint correct on this original paint. It's in really good condition. It doesn't look like it's had a wax or any polish on it in a very long time. It is full of water spots. And you can tell on this stainless or this chrome here, same thing. It's got lots of water spots on it. We're gonna try and correct that, and we're gonna bring you guys along for those videos as well. We also want to address a couple of things when it comes to touch-ups. So I showed you a couple of the chips down there on the kick panel where your feet slide in and out. There's also a couple of spots on both sides of the truck right down in here where the paint is actually chipping and peeling away. We're going to do some of that correction. We're going to sand that down. We'll sandblast it. We will prime, we will putty, we will prime and paint to get that smooth again and make it look like original. And we will color match the paint to the VIN and the paint code on this truck. This fiberglass tonneau cover is shifted a little bit, I'm not sure you can tell, towards the driver's side, which means it's overhanging a little bit more over here than it is over here. In fact, if you look on this side, it fits just about perfect the way it should, but because they do make them so much more wider, this side actually overhangs a little bit more. Another thing with the tonneau cover, besides it being as heavy as all get out to open with one hand, there's a couple of little things. So one thing is this rubber seal up in here is failing. It's deteriorating. And one of the things that it's doing is it's dripping when it gets damp. And it's leaving these black drip marks on the side of the truck. So he's asked if we can find or source out some new rubber to remove that, clean up the surface, and get a new seal put on that. That might be a challenge. So if you guys know of anything that you know of right off the top of your head, go ahead and put them in the comments, because I will read them and see if we can source something out that's going to work a little bit better than this, that's not going to leave those spots on the side. Another thing is we've got this little bit of chafing. It's right down to bare metal on the tailgate because the tailgate is slightly out of alignment. And we know that because we look here and it's sticking out a little bit. So we're going to adjust that. We're going to make sure that we get that in there a little bit further. And when we go to adjust the tonneau cover and center it a little bit more, we'll make sure that nothing is hitting inside on that tailgate. Another tiny little thing is, I'm not sure if you guys can see that, but right there is a screw or a bolt kind of coming out of this piece of reinforcement. And the owner says he has cracked his head on it once or twice. So we are going to grind that down, get rid of that, so he no longer has to bleed when he's reaching in the back of his truck to pull things out. We talked about adjusting the exhaust so that it kicks back a little bit further. And again, you guys might not be able to tell on camera, but it's actually kicked out further on the rear than it is on the front. So we're going to try and get that back a little more parallel with the body side. One more thing is when we're driving, this rear view mirror is loose. You can hear it. There's something that's either let go or a bolt that's backed off inside the door. We're going to take a look at that to keep this from rattling and vibrating as he's going down the highway, because he claims it's very difficult to see out of that when it's vibrating quite bad. So we're going to tear the door panel apart and see if we can figure out what's going on with that. I'm guessing there's some sort of a support in there that's either a weld has broke loose or a bolt has backed off. We'll get that tightened up or re-welded or whatever's holding it in place, and we'll get it fixed so that it's not flexing on the top of that door. So over here on the passenger side, the dash is rattling a little bit. And he even pointed out to me that you can actually move it. So there's whatever holds this dash to the A-pillar or up into the dash. Maybe there's a bolt or something that's let go. We're going to tear into that and see if we can figure out what's going on with that, and try and secure that dash a little better so it's not rattling on him in here as well. And last but not least, this is kind of the lowest priority for him at the moment, is the paint is chipped on this seam right here and is starting to rust. And I did let him know that in order to fix that properly, the rear window's got to come out. These aren't terrible to do. It's just these rubber gaskets that pop in and out. The problem is, do I want to be responsible for a broken glass if it breaks while we're taking it out? I've taken these out before in the GM trucks. It's a similar device. But at the end of the day, he said, we'll see where we are at the end of everything, and maybe it's something that we get the glass shop to take the glass out for us, and then we go get the truck and bring it back and fix this, and then get them to put it back in. So that's kind of lowest priority. Even still, we've got to do something with that at some point in time. But these are all minor projects. And now I'm not sure if I said last but not least on the last one, but this truly is the last one, is he says when things are cold, it sounds like the fan is hitting up against the fan shroud. Well, I did check earlier. The fan shroud is pretty ruggedly mounted. There's not a whole lot of flex there. It's not flimsy at all. So we're going to check for a little bit of a noise up front when it's cold. I can't do it now because the engine's warmed up. We'll check it again when everything's cooled down, see if we can figure out what's going on with that noise. My guess is we're dealing with a header tick. When it's cold, the headers are ticking, and when they warm up, they expand a bit, and everything's fixed. So we will go around and we'll check all the bolts on the header, make sure that everything is in place the way it should be and everything is tight on that aspect. So that's a pretty quick glance at this 95 F-150 short wheelbase with 94,000 kilometers, 58,000 miles. Let me know in the comment section below, what do you guys think about this thing? Is it something that you would buy? And again, if so, what would you pay for it? We know that the price on all vehicles are up right now, especially collectibles, and these are becoming collectible. These are what's referred to as OBS or arrow nose trucks, I believe. Maybe I'm wrong there too. But at the end of the day, people still are starting to collect these. Shorties seem to be more collectible than the long beds. Four-wheel drives, again, a little bit more desirable. But I just can't help but think that this is a perfect example of what a 95 should be if it's going to be a collector quality. So we will be doing a video of some of these repairs, and I think I'm going to do the paint correction one separately because that's going to be the most time consuming. And then we'll put all the little repairs together when everything is done into a video, and you guys are going to come along for the ride. So make sure, if you haven't already, hit that thumbs up if you like these old trucks. We're trying to get the thumbs up on this video up over 1,000. We almost made it on a previous video. So again, if you haven't done it yet, hit that thumbs up. And again, if you're not subscribed, subscribe to Olde Carr Guy. We're doing stuff like this, checking out these great old vehicles, these old trucks, and we're working on lots on my channel as well. So we're going to get this thing put to bed for the night, and then we'll close out this video. And so far, the only thing I think I can complain about on this truck is, well, I don't think those tires are big enough. I need to fill them wheel wells out just a little bit more. Well, there you have it, folks. There is the 95 Ford F-150 V8 four-wheel drive shorty with very, very low mileage. Let me know down in the comment section what you think of this truck. Would you own it? And also tell me in Canadian or American dollars, what would you pay for it? Let's let Charlie know whether he got himself a steal of a deal. Guys, thanks for watching Olde Carr Guy. If you haven't yet, there is a link down below for merchandise. You can get your very own Olde Carr Guy t-shirt, hat, hoodie, whatever you choose, and it can be shipped very, very quickly from the US. And if you're in Canada, same thing. It doesn't take that long, and the prices are really, really good. Make sure you get yourself some Olde Carr Guy merch. I end every video with stay focused on the windshield, not the rearview mirror. I love you guys. God bless. Thanks for watching. If you haven't done so, please subscribe, hit a thumbs up, share with your friends. We'll see you in the next one.